Hi class. So we're going to go ahead and do our next set of notes. This is also under your notes, under your polynomial folder. And today we're going to talk about multiplying binomials. So we are going to start by learning what's called the FOIL method. And then we'll multiply a binomial times a polynomial. So if you want to follow along under your notes, go ahead and pull those out. Let's start first by talking about FOIL. This is just a way to remember how to multiply these and in what order you need to go. I'm going to teach you this, and then I'm going to show you another way that you can remember it as well. So in our FOIL, our F stands for first. So if I'm looking at my example 1, what we're talking about with first is we're talking about the first number or variable there and the first number or variable there. So when I multiply these, I'm going to get x squared. Then we go to outer. When we talk about outer, that's the ones that are on the outside of the problem. So that's this one and this one are on the outside. So when I go ahead and multiply those, 4 times x is going to give me 4x. Then the I stands for inner. That's the 2 that are on the inside. So 2 times x is going to give me 2x. Then L stands for last. That's the last one here and the last one there. So 2 times 4 is 8. Now, what I have to do is go ahead and combine like terms and put these in the correct order. So I've got x squared. 4x and 2x is going to give me 6x plus 8. And that will be my answer. Now, I'm going to show you a different way that you can remember this. I kind of do better with this, and I call it double distributive. I'm taking this x, and I'm going to multiply it by that one and that one. So I'm actually distributing each part. So if I distribute my x first, I go to this one, and if you look, that's what they did with first. Then I go to this one, and if you look, that's what they did with outer. Then I come to this one, and I distribute it to each term. So if I go from here to here, that's my inner, and if I go from here to there, that's my last. So this is just kind of a way to remember what order you do it in. Or if you prefer, you could say, well, I'm taking this one, I'm distributing it there, and then there, then I'm going to take this one and go there, and then there. So whichever one is easiest for you to remember is just fine. So let's go ahead and we're going to use our FOIL method on example 2. So we start with our first, here to here, that's going to be 2x squared. Then we're going to go to our outer. So again, I'm going to take this, I'm going to distribute it over here. So that's minus 10x. Then I'm going to take my inner, which is here to here. So that's plus 1x. And then I'm going to take my last, which is here to here, which is going to give me a negative 5. I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. I'm going to end up with 2x squared, a negative 10x, and a positive 1x is going to give me a negative 9x minus 5. And that is my answer. So let's look at a couple more of these problems. Let's go ahead and jump down to number 10. That's the first or the last one on the first side of this, on the first page of our notes. So we are going, I probably should have left that up for you. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump down to number 10. So we've got 3w plus 1, 3w minus 1. Now this one's going to work just a little bit different, which is why I wanted to show it to you. Actually, let me bring it down so that we can actually show our distributive. So we're going to start with our first. So 3w times 3w is 9w squared. Then we go to our O, which is our outside, negative 3w. Then we go to our I, which is our inside, plus 3w. Then we go to our L, which is our last. Positive 1 times negative 1 is going to give me a negative 1. Now, notice what happens here. I have a negative 3w and a positive 3w. That's going to cancel each other out. So my final answer is going to be 9w squared minus 1. Now, this is going to always happen if these two are the same numbers and variables, and one's a plus and one's a minus. Now, we're going to be learning about these special cases a little later. But this is going to always cancel out if we have that scenario. If they cancel out, we just leave out our w. We don't write it in our answer at all. Remember, we do not write a 0w. We just totally leave it out. So I've got 9w squared minus 1. All right, let's go ahead and flip to the back. And let's try a few of these on the back. Let's start with number 15. Now, you'll remember when you were doing Delta Math, you saw a few of these problems. These were the ones that I said I would do for you because we hadn't learned it yet. And it looks like this. X to the 4th squared. What that actually means is x plus 4 times x plus 4. So, as we do our problem, we are going to use FOIL for this and see what we get. So, take our first x squared outside. It's going to give me a 4x. Inside gives me a 4x. And then last gives me a 16. Combine my like terms. And that is my answer. So anytime you see something squared, rewrite it, showing that you're multiplying the two of those together. All right, let's go ahead and skip down to number 19. 19 starts with a binomial times a trinomial. Now, this is the reason that I kind of like to teach, instead of teaching FOIL, teaching double distributive, because once you get here, you're actually using distributive, and there's no little phrase to kind of help you remember it. So we've got x squared plus 3x minus 6. So in this case, we're going to do the same thing that we did there, but like I said, there's no little catchphrase to remember. We just have to distribute. We are going to distribute this x to each one of these. And we're going to do that first. Then we're going to do the same thing with that 4. So let's go ahead and distribute our x's first. So if I do x times x squared, I'm going to get x to the 3rd plus 3x squared minus 6x. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to use the 4. And I'm going to distribute this 4 to each one of those. So when I do that, I'm going to end up with a plus 4x squared plus 12x minus 24. At this point, I've got to combine my like terms, and again, I'm going to look at my variables. They are all the same letter, but I have to go according to highest exponent to lowest exponent. So let's look at what we can combine. I only have one that's got an x to the 3rd, so of course I'm going to bring that down. Now I'm going to look at my x squareds. So I got a 3x squared and a 4x squared, so that's going to give me 7x squared. Then I'm going to look at just the x. I've got a negative 6x and a positive 12x. That's going to give me a positive 6x. And then I have this 24 sitting here, so I'm going to bring that down. So let's try one more of these. This one was number 19. Let's go ahead and look at number 21. We'll try one more of these just to make sure you're understanding how to do these. All right, so this is number 21. I've got 3a plus 1 times 5a squared plus 2a minus 6. So let's go ahead and do our first distributive. I'll start with this 3a. I'm going to distribute that 3a to each of these numbers. So 3a times 5a squared is going to give me 15a to the third. 3a times 2a is going to give me 6a squared. 3a times negative 6 is going to give me negative 18a. But I'm not done yet. Now I've got to distribute this 1, and I'm going to distribute it to each one of these in here as well. So that's going to give me plus 5a squared plus 2a minus 6. Pretty easy since it's just a 1. Combine like terms. This is my only cubed. I've got positive 6a squared, positive 5a squared, so that's going to be an 11a squared. I've got a negative 18a and a positive 2a, so that's going to be a negative 16a, and then I'm going to bring down that negative 6. All right, let's go ahead and look at our geometric application. Since we love those so much. Now, again, it says find the area of the shaded region. That means I have to take the larger area and I'm going to subtract the smaller area. So my larger area, and I'm going to kind of put this into brackets here. My larger area is going to be 2x plus 7 times 9x minus 2. So that's how I'm going to get my larger shape. And I am going to subtract my smaller shape, which is 3x times x plus 12. All right, so let's go ahead and work this out. First, we're going to use our FOIL method here. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this. I'm going to go ahead and solve these and keep them in brackets as we solve them. All right, so we've got 2x times 9x. So I've got 18x squared. Then I've got 2x times negative 2, so that's what, negative 4x. Then I've got 7 times 9x, that's going to give me 63x. And then I've got 7 times negative 2 minus 14. So now I've got that one done. Now we're going to jump over to this one. 3x times x is going to be 3x squared. 3x times 12 is going to be 36x. At this point, I am just going to be combining like terms. However, I have to be careful because this is a subtraction. So that means this is going to become negative, that's going to become negative. So let's start with our x squared. I've got an 18x squared and a negative 3x squared. So that's going to give me a 15x squared. Now I've got a few more x's to combine because I've got this negative 4, I've got a positive 63, and a negative 36. So I'm going to end up with a positive 23x. Now I've got this negative 14, nothing else I can combine it with, so it goes on the end. So at this point, hopefully you understand how to multiply two binomials and how to multiply a binomial times a trinomial. Go into your homework folder, look for Unit 7 Homework 3, try some of those, see how you do, look at the answer key and see if you got them right. Talk to you soon.